We're back live in the studios of WLCN. The program is Viewpoint, 96.3. And if anybody might have any questions or comments to add this morning, we have our guest this morning, Mr. Bill Donath, talking a lot about the history of Logan County, and with particular reference to the Logan County's participation in the Civil War. We're going to move a little further on to that. 648-5510. Right now, Bill, I'd like to digress just a minute, if I may, and talk about the Logan County Genealogical Society, headquarters down there on Sangamon Street, or Chicago Street, right across from the depot. Kind of a sleeper organization, as far as I can tell. I've done a little volunteering down there, not much, little. You need more volunteers, and specifically, throw the mic open to you to talk a little bit about what we're doing down there.
Well, our goal is to gather the history of Logan County and preserve it and make it available to researchers and try to put it in a fashion that's easy to research so that folks don't have to take a whole lot of time to find either genealogical or historical information about Logan County. We need help. We always are looking for more volunteers. We've had some volunteers move away. We've had some with health issues that have had to back off, and we just need more hands to do the work. From the ground up, we're probably 10 very active people who do a lot of the work, and then we have several others who help run the shop. So when people come in, there's somebody there who can lead them to where we've stored the data and have the information that they need for their research.
Well, for example, let's say a gentleman lives in Bend, Oregon, a fellow named Jim Palmer, for instance, and he comes to Logan County, and his wife came from here, and he wants to know a little bit more about her background. Is this where he would start, in your office?
That would be a good place to start. We have a prepared list that was put together by Gary Fries and Bill Detmers, two of our major researchers. And this list has on it the favorite places to go, or the first places to go to find information. The county histories that I referred to earlier, the obituary files that you probably are more familiar with than I am because you worked on them when you were there. Yeah. The births, deaths, weddings, everything that we see in print gets copied and put into these files so people can get at them. Historical events. Anytime we come across an interesting historical event, we try to gather as much as we can about that. We have in the back room what we call a vertical file, and it's just filled with file folder after file folder with surnames on them. Gossett's going to be there. I don't know if Busby's made it yet.
No, they'll never make it.
Donath file, Heinzel file, but we have probably 10,000 files back there or more of where we just drop information,
little
pieces
clippings,
of paper,
clippings, and notes.
And people can go through that when they're in, and some folks have gotten into that and they say, I didn't know that before. Oh, look at that. I've never seen that before. So that's always a good feeling to us when we have researchers come in and say things like that, because it means that we're doing what we're supposed to do.
Do you think everyone understands that they can, in fact, just walk in your door and give their name and you would help them find whatever you have access to?
I don't know that they know that, but they do now.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do is expand the knowledge of the folks in the listening area as to what the Genealogical Society does for all of us. Now, in particular, that incident to which I alluded, I think the young lady that was born perhaps in Chicago, but her mother and father were born here, and so as long as they know the names of the families, that's where they can start.
Yeah, we like them to come in, and doesn't take coming in. A phone call, a letter, email. I spend Friday mornings going through the emails that have come in through the week and try to respond to each one because they're asking for a burial site or which cemetery is this person buried in. So we have a lot of cemetery books up there with that information.
Does it give, like, the plots, the number of the plot?
We're actually working on that. Bill Detmers has headed up doing that for old and new Union cemeteries, and I've helped him transcribe a lot of those. I did 2 of the books, and he did 3. He and his wife, Diane, have been transcribing those. And I just got my first opportunity last week to help a couple looking for some burial places. And we have the maps. We got those from Darrell White back when he was superintendent of the cemetery district, and reducing those. So I marked on there where these grave sites were, and then I went out myself to make sure that they were actually there, and they were. And it took me about 15 minutes to find 10 grave sites. So it was.
It's really
so they were
complete,
pleased. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to emphasize.
We're trying to do that with all of the cemeteries in Logan County. So.
Now, you say all the cemeteries in Logan County. Paul Gleason told me once how many cemeteries. You mentioned Old and New Union Cemetery. Well, that's obviously a cemetery, but we have little roadside
yes.
graves or little family plots around the county that have a couple headstones in them. And they're all the responsibility of the cemetery
district. Which I'm
How many are there? Do you remember?
I'm on that board. I serve on that board as well. So I'm working with them to make these records available. And they're probably 50, 60.
Oh, I know. It was a phenomenal amount. I was very surprised.
There are a large number of those small cemeteries around that are called abandoned, and the maintenance district has responsibility for those since there's no board for them and nobody taking care of them. And we try to get out and get them mowed once or twice a year. And, so that the researchers can get to them.
When you drive through the county, every once in a while you can come upon a little tiny fenced area that has a couple of stones in it. And I don't know, they always look kind of homey, like, you know?
Well, they are for somebody.
They are.
And there was probably a farmhouse not too far from that years ago when they were first buried there.
You know, you remind me of something here. We're discussing the cemetery business. I think, Judith, we need to get Bob Neal and a companion here to talk about the Union Cemetery. We've taken that building out there, as you know, Bill.
Yes.
Which was the cemetery office in the old Union Cemetery. And we're creating a little chapel out there.
Yes.
And it's going to be really nice. So we're going to talk about that. Get in. We'd like to emphasize, Bill, the need for a few more volunteers at the Genealogical Society. There's a few doing a lot of work there right now.
And that's probably true of all the organizations in Logan County. Everybody needs more help. And you don't have to do it every day, all day long. You can just do it a couple hours a week. And we've got jobs that can be ongoing and help us out a great deal.
What are your office hours there?
We're open Tuesday through Friday, 11 to 4. And then Brenda Jones has volunteered to come in on Saturdays.
Oh, that's nice.
And she's had been doing that, and then things got kind of slow for a while, and she's going to come back and start doing that again next month, I believe. So.
Well, you know, all the people who are rightly so proud of the fact that they were born and raised in Logan County should take advantage of that.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we can always use additional helpers, more hands in the make light work.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You're getting all frogged up again.
Oh, I know it. I just don't know what's the matter.
It's sinus season.
Yes, and they say you can't live here forever, and I pretty near have. and not become allergic to something. But it makes your eyes water. It makes you look like a sad person, and I'm not a very sad person.
I think we can attest to that.
Goodness. You know, my mom and dad are from a little town, probably the size of Emden, in southern Minnesota. And I got a copy from their paper here from my aunt just recently. The editor of the paper was into genealogy. Mm-hmm. It was the anniversary of the Mexican Revolution. And he wondered if there was anybody from Kenyon, which is near Rochester, Minnesota, who had served in that skirmish. And by golly, he came across somebody who had. It was my grandpa Tom. Tom Nesseth, yes, sir. And he talked about how they had gone through this camp and that camp, and then out to here and down to there and down to the border, where the revolution had spilled over into the United States. That's the reason they were down there. They weren't in Mexico. But it was so interesting to see that. And I'm sure that the people from here could go to your place and find out about their great-grandpa or grandpa or whatever that served.
We had a company from Logan County that served in the Mexican War. And
did you?
They actually captured Santa Anna's artificial leg.
The leg? What did they do with it? Where is it?
It's at the Military Museum in Springfield.
Honest to John.
Yeah, I went there to see it not too long ago, and they've got it displayed in a Spanish-style coach, half a coach. It's against a wall, but it's sitting there, and it's Santa Anna's artificial leg.
Was it wood?
Yes. But it's very well decorated.
How did he lose his leg? I mean, I don't mean originally.
Military action or whatever.
Oh, sure, I'm sure, but the false leg, how did he lose that?
He may have had more than one. It may have been in his tent or something. I don't know exactly how they got it.
But there were a number of people from here who went down to the border for the revolution.
Yes. And we have enough room in the name board that we put in the courthouse with the new statue, where we list all the Civil War people. We have enough room in there to put the Mexican War veterans in there as well. Because the Mexican War was actually the first war for Logan County after it was formed in 1839. So it's an idea in my head that we can put some more names in that board and have the Mexican volunteers.
Now, if somebody, Bill, has an artifact that is not going to be handed down to their heirs and so forth, down to the family, maybe they have no family left, does your genealogical society like to have artifacts such as that?
We would like to collect that sort of stuff. We're short on room, as you know. We're pretty crowded in there, and we really don't have room for a museum. We just received last week a cradle that came down through the Pegram and Duff families that came out of Logan County, and it had been up in Wisconsin, and none of the descendants of that family wanted it.
Can you imagine
that? Nice
that?
walnut cradle. It's beautiful and
handmade, no doubt.
I don't know about that. It might be a purchased item, but it's all walnut. It's very pretty, and it can either not rock or rock depending on where you align stuff on it. And it was given to us by a Duff descendant, I believe, or Pegram descendant. And they were coming down to the genealogy conference in Springfield that was held a couple weeks ago. So they thought they'd bring it along, and they left it with us. So we have that artifact now.
How fun. I can't imagine a family, an extended family, not cherishing those things that belonged to their forebears.
Even in history, not everybody's interested until they get older. Bill mentioned that a minute ago, that it's a shame that we wait until we're older to figure out what kind of questions to ask of the people who are gone.
Yeah, right.
I wish I had my grandmother Donuts back so I could sit and talk with her forever.
Exactly.
Sure. Bill, what about pictures? Perhaps people have some old family pictures that they would like to make sure, and of course they can make copies of them to give them to the descendants and they can pass down the line. But would you like to have copies of old family pictures?
We love photographs, especially if they're identified.
In the process of...
If you're cleaning out Aunt Hattie's attic and you want to, don't know what to do with all that stuff and you don't have room for it, we may not have room for it either, but we'll take it anyway.
Yeah, wow.
We've been getting a lot of photographs, and I referred to the vertical file where we keep all the family information. That's where we put those photographs so that when folks open up those files, all
I
that
discovered
stuff is
some while I was escaping the heat this summer. I went down to the basement and got out boxes of pictures and envelopes of pictures and so started sorting. And I came across some that I knew I had them, but had long since not seen them. My great-grandparents and family groupings out in the yard, view and that type of thing. And I didn't have any idea whether you had any need for that type of thing or not.
We love that kind of stuff. I know my wife Shirley inherited several boxes of that kind of stuff when her mother passed away, and she's been working awfully hard to identify who they are, and has been doing a good job of it. It takes a lot of research if there aren't names on there.
Oh, yeah.
Quick aside, you can't imagine the number of beautiful sunsets I threw away. You know, when you're out traveling somewhere, that's a gorgeous sunset, we'll get that, you know. Well, there are all these sunsets there. Well, they're in the wastebasket now, who cares?
Yeah.
You and my mother, my gosh, how we used to tease her. Every roll of film was at least half Sunsets by Elaine.
Well, we've had very interesting this morning here with Bill Donuth, who does a whale of a lot of good down there to Logan County Genealogical Society. We could ask you to stop in and see how you can donate a couple hours a week. Membership is almost a joke insofar as monetary outlay is concerned.
Yeah, membership is $15.
$15.
For $15
well, you divide that by 365, it's not very much. So they can always, seriously, they can always use a little extra help down there.
And you get 4 newsletters a year, 4 quarterlies that have a lot of Logan County history in them.
Well, we appreciate your presence. Since we're talking about genealogical, that kind of comes with old age. There's a quote about old age and said, women, I'm going to make sure I get this right, women always try to conceal their age, men rarely act their age.
Oh, well, there's that.
Well, there's a social commentary on genders this morning. Thank you, Bill Donuth, for Viewpoint.